Hey there, folks. We're going to help out one of my friends today. He sent me a bunch of text messages asking questions about shooting stuff. So that's great. I was like, that's fantastic, man. I will happily do a video. So let me read through the question here. We'll make sure that we get it, and then we get into answering it. All right. So my main question I was going to ask is, how are you rolling the support hand pressure on? You hit under the trigger guard and then you just clamp, or do you use the gun moving to extension to anchor your fingers and then apply pressure with your palm into the frame? That's a really great question. So, getting the pressure set on your support hand, I think it's a little tougher than your dominant hand. Well, maybe not. People mess that one up too. But anyway, dominant hand pressure is pretty easy. As you're grabbing the gun in the holster, I like to set the pressure right there. So it's I grab the gun and I make sure that I don't, push down into the holster, like really grind into it. I just grab it the place that I want and the pressure that I want and snatch it out from the holster. All right. The support hand, getting the pressure set with that one, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, it kind of is a little bit complicated. So the way that I get my hand in the right spot is I'll run my finger into the trigger guard here, and I'm going to wrap up off of that. So you can see there's a bump or a callus right on my finger. This spot is going to be basically the same with any gun that I shoot. So it's like that spot runs into the trigger guard. That gets me to the right position. But when my hands come together, like let's say they come together close to me, like here and a little bit lower, but you wouldn't see it on camera. Anyway, my hands come together a little close to me, but it's not like the pressure for my support hand is set right here. And the more that I played around with it, I was like, that'd be really kind of awkward and weird if my hand comes on here this close to my body and I already have the pressure set. The more that I tried to do that, the more I felt like I'd have too much pressure. And then as I extended my arms, I'd be kind of like releasing the pressure, if that makes sense. No, it was more natural for me to just hit my finger on the trigger guard and get the right hand position. And then as the gun extends, I roll onto the pressure. And to me, I like to have all the pressure rolled into the gun before the sight gets up to my eye line. So connection, and then my fingers are grabbing my fingers and I'm making sure that I'm clamping and forming the connection into the grip panel. And then as I extend the pistol up, there it is. And again, I should have the pressure on before the gun gets to full extension. Right. So that's how I do it. Now, I did ask some follow-ups. I'm like, why are you asking me this? Like, what's going on here? And he has a pretty insightful answer. He says, I'm over gripping with the firing hand and under gripping with the support hand, I believe. I need to get a reliable connection with the support hand. When I'm pushing for speed, my firing hand is clamping down and sometimes causes trigger freeze or low hits. We were doing draws in pairs, and my group was all over the A with some C's. Sometimes after a reload or pairs, I'll feel support hand leave the trigger guard. Yeah, so the reason I say this is insightful is what he's experiencing when he's actually shooting is a problem with his dominant hand. But the way that your hands work is if you're shooting and it's like the gun's doing stuff that you don't want, you're like, oh, you feel like you don't have control of it. Most people typically, they're just going to add in pressure with their dominant hand in order to fix the problem. I mean, it's very natural. Like, oh, it's not, when they just clamp onto it. What he's recognizing here is that when his support hand's not doing its thing, the dominant hand wants to, get really involved and fix the problem, and that it's very difficult to do that and have it work out well for you. I mean, typically it'll be like he says, low hits, trigger freeze, that kind of thing. And the best way to keep the dominant hand from feeling it needs to get involved is for the support hand, again, to do its thing. So I thought it was a pretty insightful way to ask the question, and I like the way that he diagnosed what's going on. So anyway, there you go. That's how we set the pressure with the support hand. I hope that's helpful.